What's going on, Coaching Success Radio? It is another in our Future Success Stories series coming right up after this. As I build my coaching business, I want to know how to effectively serve clients and make more money doing it. This podcast will pull back the curtain to reveal exactly how successful coaches are building their empires. Join me as I engage with top coaches from all over the world to discover their secrets. No theatrics and no theory, just real-life strategy. My name is William Winterton, and this is Coaching Success Radio. Hey, check it out. We are almost in monsoon season. It's the middle of July, and if you don't know the desert world, oh my gosh, you can hear the wind blowing and everything. It gets so exciting because humidity starts forming all over this place. We start getting rain and a lot of electricity in the sky. So in Tucson, we're a desert most of the time. We're just like totally dry, arid land. But for like 3 or 4 weeks out of the year, it'd be nice if it was months. Like middle of July through middle of August, we end up into the monsoon season, which is where we're headed right now, which is with all the clouds coming in and rain about to come down on us. So I'm super excited because it is phenomenal. It completely changes our atmosphere and just kind of breaks everything up from what we've been used to here. Another thing I'm super excited about is this Future Success Stories series. Unbelievable the bravery of these people who are coming on to this podcast, and also a big thanks to everybody who's watching and sending all the encouraging comments about these shows. It takes a lot of guts to come on when you're not totally ready in your business, when you don't have everything identified, you're not totally feeling like you're 100% locked in. It takes a lot of guts and bravery to come out and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to come on, I'm going to share my story, I'm going to talk about what I do, what I'm passionate about, even if I don't have it all figured out, right? And so I want to thank everybody who's coming on, and today, super excited to bring on Susan Erickson. Now, Susan has spent the last 30 years in the health industry, is now switched over and becoming a life coach. And in the past year, she's been growing her business, getting lots of clients. So she's going to share her story about why she got started, how she got started, things that she's gone through, clients that she's been able to help. I think a lot of the stuff that she's sharing is stuff that's going to resonate really well with you if you're brand new in coaching or just getting started, especially if you had a full-time career for a long time of your life and are making that switch over to becoming an entrepreneur. So, ladies and gentlemen, Susan Erickson.
Susan, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, William. Great to see you today, and thanks so much for inviting me on the show. Yes, I'm Susan Erickson. I'm here in Iowa. I've been full-time into life coaching for about a year. In the past, I've spent about 30 plus years in healthcare here in the local community, in the administration roles, managing clinics and residency programs, and COO of a local residency program here. And decided about a year ago to step full-time into coaching. I have an undergrad in business, I have a master's in organizational leadership, and then decided at a late stage in my life to go back and get certified as a life coach through the Erickson College, no relation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, into the art and science of coaching. So being in healthcare, that was important to me to have both pieces of that.
What was so important to you about getting certified as a coach rather than just starting coaching?
Well, for me, being in the roles I was in, certifications come in all kinds of things in healthcare, right? And that just adds a little more credibility, I think, to what we do, and a little more education and background to that. And so when people are looking for a health coach and want to know, a life coach and want to know what that is and what that means, they can look to that and know that there's some additional training and some additional education. That was a 2-year course, 4 hours a week over a couple of years. So it does, I think, add and lend credibility to that.
Sure. So that's really interesting. You have been 30 plus years in the health industry, and then you became a life coach. Can you talk to me a little bit about why that path of coaching versus, let's say, health coaching or something like that? Or is there enough similarity between the two?
Well, that's a very good question, William, because there are a lot of coaches out there and a lot of different types of coaches. As you mentioned, there's health coaches, there's life coaches, there's exercise coaches, there's all kinds of things. And all of us have a different niche and a different style of coaching. My niches are in transition, leadership, and legacy. So I work with people in any kind of transition that they might be going through, such as maybe they have a new baby, or maybe their baby's gone off to college and now they're empty nesting. Maybe they've moved, maybe they're considering a new a new job, or should they start a new business? Any kind of transition like that. Also, anybody in leadership. So maybe they're new to leadership, or maybe they've been in leadership and they're struggling a little bit, or just need some refresher. And then legacy coaching. And oftentimes people think of legacy coaching as somebody my age, getting late in life. However, legacy coaching is really for anybody. It's how do you want to be seen and how do you want to be known within your community, within your career, within your family. So it really impacts all of us and where we are and what we do.
So you chose to then basically take on all three and tackle all three of those at once. Is that something that you do separately? Do you have like one program that encapsulates all those, or do you have kind of, it depends on who comes in the door and you go whichever direction? Or how does your business work, I guess, day to day on that?
As always with coaching, the client really determines the need, what their needs are, and we meet them where they're at. So whatever they're at in their point in life. But I do have a leadership track that
Okay.
I do. That's 6 sessions across that, and then people can follow up with that. I do some leadership coaching with groups as well. So groups in the community that want to do something together. I also do some retreats. So I do retreats on self-care. And my retreats are experiential learning. So that means it's kind of hands-on. And for example, when I do self-care, it's what is self-care to you? Because self-care to you might be different than it is to me. So maybe for you, self-care is going out with a night on the town with friends. But maybe self-care for me is a bike ride through the park, or a night at home reading a book. So people come away with what is their own plan, what is their own idea of self-care, and how will they establish that, how will they sustain that, and how will they overcome some barriers for that.
Again, you started this about a year ago, is what you said?
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about that process. You've been in one like life stage here for 30 years, and then all of a sudden you decide to jump in. Was this a really quick decision? Was this something that you kind of did I know you got your training, but is this something you decided that, okay, I'm going to cut off all ties to my corporate world, I'm going to go straight into this, or did it kind of blend together? How did that look?
Yes, well, that's a very interesting question, and it was an interesting path actually, because I tried to talk several people into my world, into health life coaching once I discovered what that was, that were in healthcare and some other field. And they just kept saying, no, you need to do this. So I finally took the plunge and did that. And then I think as part of leadership, and when you're in those roles, a lot of what you do is coaching already. And I just decided that was the part that was my gift that I really enjoyed the most. And that's what I chose to pursue. I'm in a town of area of around 100,000. And so when I stepped in full time to life coaching, it really was organically is how it grew, through people that I knew and through the community. And now I'm at a point that I'm really trying to build my virtual business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing more online. I'm doing some work with that versus the one-to-one in person. Long term, I'd like my business to be 70 to 75% virtual versus the majority of it being in person. I will always keep a piece of that because I really do enjoy that, but I also want to just build the virtual piece of that.
So you're saying in person, you actually meet one-on-one, face-to-face, let's sit down and have a cup of coffee, kind of a meet. And then right now you don't have anything kind of going online, but you're just kind of starting that realm. So all of your clients are one-on-one, face-to-face right now is how you're.
Most of my clients are one-on-one
Okay.
right now. I do have some virtual clients I've coached from when I was any place in the world, and I've coached from when they were any place in the world. So it can happen that way. It's just that hasn't really been what I've pursued, but
Sure.
that I'm expanding into more at this point.
And that's really cool because I think that's overlooked a lot. I think because we are such a virtual world now, and I mean, it's a very flat earth, right? I can do business with somebody in India and China and Australia and Iowa, right? So, and I can stay the whole day in my house and never leave, right? And just order a DoorDash and stay home. So now we're at a point where that's become such a commonplace. I think being able to do one-on-one and go out and live speak and speak to people in the community, I think there's a real advantage to doing that in many ways. People get to see you and know you. Have you noticed anything challenging trying to get into the virtual space coming out of doing a lot of one-on-one live stuff?
Well, challenging probably is the technical piece for me mostly. And so,
Okay.
Of course, hired somebody for that because it's not my area of expertise.
Right.
So I certainly would turn that over to somebody else, and I'm going to focus on what I do best. Now, when it comes to public speaking or whatever, that's pretty much the same, right? So you speak to people, however, building relationships is maybe a little bit different just because you aren't in the same proximity, but just like with us, we still see each other, we still can hear each other. And so a lot can be done virtually just the same as it is face-to-face. And then there are just some other virtual ways to do that, of course, via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Sure.
Other platforms. So, yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. So tell me then, I guess one of the things that you have found, especially starting just in your first year, a lot of people in our audience are brand new. They've been doing business for maybe a year, or maybe they're just kind of getting started. What's probably the biggest challenge that you had to overcome getting your business off the ground at the very beginning stages?
I'm going to back up there just a minute if you
Go
don't.
for it. Go for it.
When you say getting the business off the ground, I think for me, and maybe for other people that have been in another type of a business, if you will, or been known as something else, something I didn't expect was really letting go of what that was, right? I really had to let go of myself, seeing myself as a COO or seeing myself as an administrative leader in healthcare. I had to let go of that, and I had to start seeing myself as a life coach and as solely in that position.
Yeah.
That was something I didn't really expect.
Kind of a new identity you had to take on and be okay with people seeing you as that other person as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for anybody who is, let's say, wanting to get a hold of you and wanting to use your services, what's the best way to reach out to you and, connect with you?
Yeah. Well, I've tried to keep everything very simple. So my website is susanericksoncoaching.com. My email is susanericksoncoaching@gmail.com. On Facebook under Susan Erickson Coaching. So I've tried to keep everything very simple and very clean. So people can reach out to me in numerous ways. I have blogs out there as well. So whatever platform people are most comfortable using, just to reach out and I'll contact them within 24 to 48 hours.
And let's pretend that the ideal perfect person was out here and was watching this or saw it. Describe them. Where are they in life? Who do they look like?
Yeah, well, that's really very interesting. So, because I've just been, of course, going through all of that in the past year and identifying that for myself, and so that I could bring the most value, and people will get the most value out of my type of coaching. So the people I find that get the most value from the type of coaching that I do is somebody that's open-minded, somebody that finds value in those 4 spheres of life: physically, emotionally, career-wise, relationships, and spiritually. So maybe they're not there yet, but they realize that all of those things are important in their life. They like new experiences. And so maybe that's in travel, maybe that's in food, maybe that's in culture. And they are okay with getting outside of their comfort zone. Now, they may need a little help with that, but they know that they need to do that in order to move forward or in order to accomplish their goals. They see value in the healthy relationships, and they're lifelong learners. And by that, I don't mean necessarily that they are formal learners, always going to school, but they always believe that something can be learned from everything we do.
Well, Susan, it has been a pleasure getting to talk with you and hear a little bit about your story. And I just want to thank you again. It's your first podcast coming on too, correct?
It is. So thank you so much. I'm excited for doing this. And I thank you for inviting me on because, yes, it's my first time.
It's awesome. And it's an encouragement to everybody who's watching and listening, going I could never do that. Well, you did it, and it's fantastic, and it was wonderful. So, Susan, I am very appreciative of your time, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. New episodes are coming out every few days, including lots of conversations with massively successful coaches sharing their secrets with you. So be sure to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel so that you don't miss out. And if you're looking for a way to start making serious money from your coaching, you need to check out my free training. It's at williamwinterton.com. I lay out the step-by-step on how to start making 5 figures a month in the next 60 days. Check it out, williamwinterton.com. I'll see you next time.